welcome back to the show, and it is now time to go into WWE for this week. And, really the only thing to talk about is Raw. And to be perfectly honest, I didn't think Raw was that good of a show at all this week. Yeah, I know that's a rarity for me to say, but, after all the weeks of, great Raws and great action, they gotta hit a bump in the road every once in a while. And this week happened to be one of those bumps in the road. But I think that, that's a good thing. Because, every time you're going to have something good, you're going to have something great, you got to hit that bump in the road every once in a while. It started off with William Regal in his room with Randy Orton, Triple H, and John Cena, saying how for the next 3 weeks, each one of them is going to be the GM of Raw for the night. John Cena was the first one. And then after that, show went downhill, I felt. The Big Show. Now, listen to this. When I read, the little info thing for the show, it said Big Show was going to be in a wrestling match. When Lillian Garcia, when they're about to introduce the people for the first match, it's a mixed martial arts match. You'd think they'd be smarter, people. You'd think they'd be smarter. But I'll tell you, after that god-awful thing, the boxer, he sold that bench press all the way to the floor. There was not an ounce of emotion in his body when he was flowing on, all the way to the floor, and then until the time he hit, there was no emotion whatsoever. It was like this, bam, it was like that. But and then a bunch of other stuff happened. Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels beat Cade and Murdoch, and I feel bad for Cade and Murdoch because they're a really good tag team in my opinion. And for them to have gone in as jobbers to Flair and Michaels, after a pretty nice reign as tag team champions, it's a real disappointment, and it's a sad shape in saying about the tag team division in the WWE how 1 month you are the world tag team champions, you're the best tag team that the company has, and then the next month around you job to Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels. It's just a little bit sad and heartbreaking to see. Saw the return of the highlight reel from Chris Jericho. Jeff Hardy was his guest. That was fun. That was a nice segment. Of course, Jeff Hardy hitting the Twist of Fate. What else is there that he does? But I gotta say, the best segment of the night, I felt, was the unveiling of the cover for Playboy that Maria is on. And I gotta say, I thought it was hilarious when they pulled, the curtain, that you saw Santino's face on the cover of the magazine. I thought that was just hilarious. And then Santino and Maria, they actually have good chemistry on the mic, and that was just a very good segment all around. I really liked it. And Randy Orton and Triple H was your main event, and I gotta agree with what Wiggly and Joe Negron said on the Smart Wrestling Fan show the other night. And that is, WWE better be thanking its lucky stars right now that match, Triple H and Randy Orton, just those two, is not the main event of WrestleMania. Because if it was not going to be that good of a match, I think. And adding John Cena was a very good idea, and it was a very, very smart decision on the behalf of the WWE. Now, before I get to the WrestleMania report, the WWE Hall of Fame announced its new inductee, and it is the fabulous Mae Young who's getting in. She's only the third women's wrestler ever to get in to the WWE Hall of Fame. Now, I wanted to point something out real quick, and then I'll get to the WrestleMania report. That is this. I was listening to a podcast the other day. It was the Pro Wrestling Blog Podcast. I think that's the name of the show. And a guy was talking about, Rocky Johnson and Peter Maivia getting into the WWE Hall of Fame. He totally agreed with the fact that Rocky Johnson should be in the WWE Hall of Fame because he was the first, African-American tag team champion with Tony Ellis. Which, by all means, I agree. Because now you have the first African American tag team champions in the Hall of Fame. However, he didn't agree with Peter Maivia being in the Hall of Fame. And this is where I have to disagree with the gentleman. Because of the fact that this, if it wasn't for Peter Maivia, you know, the 30 plus years of Samoan wrestlers that, you know, the world has seen, I don't think would have either A, have been popular, or B, would have been successful at all if it had not been for Peter Maivia. So I think Peter Maivia should be in. I think he's a very good choice. I think it's long overdue, in my opinion, you know, but hey, you know, it's people's opinions and you gotta respect their opinions. On that note, it's time for the WrestleMania report. WrestleMania, can you believe this, ladies and gentlemen, is 3 weeks from this Sunday night, live from the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, Florida. Special start time of 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. You can watch it on pay-per-view, and if you don't have pay-per-view abilities, you can watch it on WWE.com. For more details, go to WWE.com. And I got it, you know, I'll probably keep saying this until the show is over. What a night it's going to be at WrestleMania. A double main event. A triple threat match for the WWE Championship. Randy Orton defends the gold against Triple H and John Cena. Like I said last week on the show, John Cena, every match he's been in at a WrestleMania has been a title match. He's never lost a match at WrestleMania when the gold is on the line. Edge defends the World Heavyweight title against The Undertaker. Will the streak finally come to an end? And then the much hyped, much publicized match, The Big Show against Money Floyd Mayweather. And then Ric Flair's legendary career is threatened when he goes up against the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. A new participant has been added to the Money in the Bank ladder match, and it is none other than Carlito after defeating Cody Rhodes this past week on Raw. SmackDown vs. Raw will see Batista go up against Umaga. A new match added this past week as Finlay will go up against JBL, and Bunny Mania is now a lumberjack match. Candice, Michelle, and Maria against the Glamazon, Beth Phoenix, and Melina, with your master of ceremony, the Dog Father himself, Snoop Dogg. Now, last week, our WrestleMania trivia question was this. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 12 is the longest match in WrestleMania history. Can you name the second longest match in WrestleMania history? Which WrestleMania was it, and who won? 2 people got it right this weekend. Well, only 2 people sent it in. Eric999 and Jared Bond both got the answer right. It was WrestleMania 16, Triple H, The Rock, Big Show, and Mick Foley in that 4-way elimination match. And Eric999 got this part right. The match went 36 minutes and 28 seconds. Now then, on to the WrestleMania stat of the week. The stat of the week is this, and it involves the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels is the only man in the history of WrestleMania to have been in the opening match of WrestleMania 3 consecutive years. WrestleMania 7, WrestleMania 8, and WrestleMania 9. And that leads to this week's WrestleMania trivia. Can you name the only 2 wrestlers to have been in the main event of a WrestleMania and then compete in the first match at the next WrestleMania? Plus, as a bonus, can you name the only wrestler in WrestleMania history to have been in the first match at a WrestleMania, the very first match at a WrestleMania, and then main event the next one? I will have your answer next week when I come back. TNA and Ring of Honor.